In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. According to a Gallup study, more than 50% of Americans are disengaged at work. This means that they are at work with their body, but with their mind, and especially with their soul, with their spirit, they are not really there. According to the same study, another 16% of Americans who are employed are actively disengaged at work. This means that they actively speak and work against the company that they are working for. I'm speaking to you about this today because I encounter that myself more and more in my interactions with people. It is not a joy to go to eat out anymore. Hardly you find a waiter who is ready to wait on you and to make you feel special because you went out with your wife and kids to have a dinner out of the house. More and more people, from what I hear, even refuse to go back to work. Now, after staying home for months, they don't want to go back to work. This is the reality that we are facing in our world, in our country nowadays. In today's epistle reading, however, we hear St. Paul telling the Romans and all of us that God has given each and everyone different gifts. And then having them gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, let us use them. If prophecy, let us prophesy in proportion to our faith. Or ministry, let us use it in our ministering. He who teaches in teaching, he who exhorts in exhortation, he who gives with liberality, he who leads with diligence, he who shows mercy with cheerfulness. In a word, whatever you do it wholeheartedly. If God has given you this gift, use it, and use it with joy. In the letter to Colossians, St. Paul again has some very specific advice. This time, he's not speaking about, you received a special gift, use it with joy. He addresses himself this time very specifically to what would be today employers and employees. He says in the in the end of the 3rd chapter of the letter to Colossians, bond servants. This would be, the employees. Obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as men pleasers, but in sincerity of heart, fearing God. And whatever you do it heartily as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ. But he who does wrong will be repaid for what he has done, and there is no partiality. And then in the beginning of chapter 4 he says, Masters, give your bondservants what is just and fair, knowing that you also have a master in heaven. So basically, employees, serve your employer as you serve the Lord, because you are not working for that employer. In fact, whatever you do it for the Lord. During vacation church school, on Wednesday, I watched with the children a couple of episodes from Superbook. And they asked them, which episode because there are many episodes, which episode do you want to watch? The first one they chose was about Moses taking out the Jews out of the Egyptian slavery. And the second one they chose was about David and Goliath. And David so beautifully was saying in that cartoon, I am not fighting for myself. I am fighting for the Lord. And this is why the Lord gives me strength. How beautiful. And how important to know that, what? I am not serving this employer. I'm serving the Lord. And I'm serving the images of God who made me. I remember when I was living in Canada, I think it was around 2010 or something like that, I saw on the news that the people who were picking up the garbage in the city of Toronto went on a strike. And for a week, they didn't pick up the garbage. Toronto was not looking very good after a week of not having the garbage picked up. I never thought about that myself. How important it is, that job, that ministry of picking up the garbage of a city. Who wants to do that job? It's not a job that many people want to do. But it is such an important ministry. Because without having people picking up the garbage after other people, the city would be a mess. A huge mess. It is a ministry. From picking up the garbage to serving food in a restaurant. I'll never forget once when I went to Detroit for a club. I went to Detroit for a clergy conference, and I was hungry, and I went to a Subway to eat something. There was a lady who made a sandwich for me. I'll never forget that experience at that Subway because of that lady. I didn't have that experience very often, I have to say that. But that lady made a sandwich for me. And she was looking in my eyes when she was asking me, and what else would you like? She was not only giving me food, she was ministering to me. I felt so good and so honored at that Subway. Wherever we are, whatever we do, employed or unemployed, it is so interesting to see how when we do volunteer work, we are so much more joyful. It is a joy to be at Greek Fest, or when I'm surrounded by volunteers because they want to be there and they do it for the Lord. And you can see that. Why can't we do the same thing every day, wherever we are? At work, at home, serving whomever happens to be next to us and needs our ministry. Because once again, as St. Paul says, whatever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not to men. Amen. Glory to the Father, and to the Son,